Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Does your drawing look like this? Plain, flat, and simple? Well, unless you like this simplicity, this video isn't for you. But if you don't, then this is how to render a chibi like me. The tools you'll need are Ibis Paint X or other drawing apps, finger or stylus, a tablet or a phone or even a computer, a drawing that you need to render, and a basic Ibis Paint X skill. First, for shadows, you need to add a layer and set it to multiplier, then clip it with this button. And repeat the same for the other color layers. And then you need a light source. For this drawing, my light source will be roughly above the character. And since the light is roughly above the object, usually I put the shadows on the neck, under the bangs, behind objects, and places where light typically couldn't reach, like these. And for the actual shadows, you can draw it using any brush, but I like to use the lasso fill tool. Now shade it in the areas from the guide. For the hair, I like to add a little something. Draw a circle with the color of your choosing. Blur the bottom with the blur tool. Size it up. Now do not cover the whole hair with this color, but I recommend you to have the end of the blurred side right until the end of the bangs. And then using the eraser tool, you erase the top of it in half circle shape. And it should look something like this, and using the FX Gaussian blur to blur the whole thing. For larger pictures, you can use up to 50px or more, but for this size, I'll only be using 15px. Then continue adding shadows to the rest of the parts. Next are the highlights. It's almost the same thing with the shadows, but unlike the shadows, it's where the light touches. And for chibi drawings like these, I like to just highlight the edges. Now add new layers for each of the colored layers and set it to screen. Again, pick the color of your choosing and color on them edges. And the highlights are done. Next are the eyes. First is the eye whites. For that, I like to color pick the color of the iris, then lighten it up. For the iris, I color pick the color again and then darken it this time. Then draw it on top of the iris. It works as the shadow of the iris. Then color pick the iris again, but lighten up, but not as light as the color of the white's shadow. Then draw small circles on the bottom of the iris. For the pupils, it's just the iris shadow, but darker. Now for the eye shines. Pick white color, then draw 2 circles on the iris's shadow area. And this is optional, but I like to pick the color cyan. Draw it as sideways teardrop on both eyes. Pick the color yellow, and also draw a sideways teardrop on both eyes. And voila! You can leave it here, but something is missing. The line art is one color. What I like to do here is to color the line art a darker shade of color from the shadow. For example, you want to color the hair's line art. You should color pick the hair's shadow and darken it. And it should look something like this. And here you go. Here is a before and after comparison. That's all I can show you. If there's anything missing, you can of course check other people's tutorials for more detailed explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.